hope so.
Nicole, you be ready?
Yep.
Hey, Matt, can I ask you an obvious one right off the bat? How is Caleb now, like three weeks into camp? How has he continued to meld into this group?
It's been great. I think, obviously in the spring he's learning everybody. He's learning new coaching styles. He's, obviously we've had relationships, but getting to know each other still. We're now, you've been over my house. He knows my family. He knows, all of this, right? And the player relationships are at a deeper level. So I think that there's a comfortability from that, to be able to say, okay, I know what to expect. And then obviously from a schematic standpoint, been in the system in the spring and the summer, so there's a level of understanding that is really high.
And what have you seen just specifically? Just the last 2 weeks, obviously zero spring. It sets him, I'm not saying sets him apart, but makes him special. Obviously he's on a preseason All-American.
For sure.
All this kind of stuff. What from your bench point, what is it?
Yeah, physically he can do it all. He can cover. He can go drop down in the box and go play physical. He can play deep. He can play man. He can play zone. He can blitz. I mean, he's versatile from that standpoint. But mentally is what's his separator. I mean, he's unique. His preparation level is unmatched. He sees it from a coach's lens. He's got to have one of the best football minds in the entire world. He's a special guy.
How was it as smart as he is? How fast is he sort of pick things up and acclimate and all that?
Yeah,
like faster than most kids? Or?
Yeah, incredibly fast. Yeah, for him to be able to, take the entire packaging from Jim Knowles and be able to run with that and then direct traffic. It's one thing just to know it and go function and play, but if you play safety in the system, you have to be able to direct traffic. So we put the checks on those guys and run game, throw game. They have to know it all. And he's been great from that standpoint.
He's obviously a young guy in terms of age, but when it comes to experience and what he got last season playing at another high-level program, how much do you see that carry over into what he's been able to do here?
Yeah, I think it does. I think confidence is built through data, and to be able to perform at a high level in the SEC like he did and be on big stages. So I think there's an expectation of himself of I've done this before and I can do this again at an even higher level. So yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think that's helped him, and he and I, one of the projects that we did initially was to watch every single snap that he took from the year. So we go game by game, and pretty special. I mean, I'll tell you guys this: the screen comes up. And you've got overlays on there. Normally defensive calls and that kind of stuff. Obviously, I don't have the calls and things like that. It's all we have is down and distance, time, and score. The play would come up. He could tell me the defensive call and what happened on the play before the film even started. That's from over a year ago. That's pretty special when you start saying, okay, what's the mental makeup of something.
Jalen McClain. You get to that next wave. What's happened helping the league?
Yeah, Jalen, Malik. I mean, there's been a pool of guys that have done a really good job competing this camp. I know Jim talked about it, the other day when he had his press conference with you guys, of just growing the depth of the safety position. I knew that, coming here, that was a critical thing of you've got these guys that are battle tested at the top, but as the season goes, you got to have more than just a couple guys. So that's been a huge point of emphasis for us, putting them in different rotations throughout camp, putting a lot on their plate and holding them accountable. They've done a really good job of responding. For sure.
He says that he wants to see more body practice. It sets up. Do you feel that's correct, or do you feel better with what you have with the team?
No, I feel good with the group of guys, right? You have to prove it on a consistent basis, So I think when he says, hey, we have to continue to grow that depth, is, accountability to make sure, hey, the performance level, there's no drop off, right? I mean, that's the standard of Ohio State. It doesn't matter who's in there. We're in scarlet and gray. That the expectation is for it to be the best in the country. So that's, I think, what he means from a depth standpoint of growing that position. And it's my job and our job to have those guys ready.
Would Malik be the first guy in regardless? Where is he?
Yeah, so we've rotated those guys at different positions. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big you can only play. We call them adjuster, bandit, right? Different names, things like that. With different places we've been, we call them different things, right? So I think it's wrong to just only know one position from that standpoint, right? So how guys are performing, you want the best players on the field. So we've cross-trained all those guys. So we've continued to grow that depth. Tim and I obviously meet together to be able to grow the depth of the entire DB pool. So that's something that's critical for us. So it's not just, hey, one guy at one position, but a group of guys, and they're competing every day to be the next man up.
What has surprised you about this?
I don't know. I don't think from a surprise standpoint. I think what you've heard about and read about is, all true. And the thing that probably isn't talked about enough is he's a great teammate. You can talk about, hey, this talent or the way the guy sees the game or the play that you've seen on the field, but this is a great young man who's a great teammate. He cares about his team. He cares about his family, and this is a special young man of who he is as a person.
Jalen has really seemed to rise pretty quickly through the offensive end as a freshman. What has impressed you?
Yeah, he doesn't act like a freshman. What I mean by that is we talk about routine a lot, and he's a guy who wanted to gain a little bit of weight when he got here in the spring, so he would be in my office at, I don't know, I'd say probably no later than 5:30 in the morning in the off season, eating 2 chicken breasts and a bowl of rice. That was his every morning. He doesn't love breakfast food, right? So that was his, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm eating breakfast. It was prepared by the nutritionist every morning, but literally 5:30 to 5:45, he was doing that every morning. So that's an example of just a maturity level and a seriousness about what he wants to get done. So he didn't come here and waste any time. That's our job, is to find the guys that want it that way and the guys that have the mentality and give them the tools to be successful.
How have you seen that approach translate?
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's that same seriousness. So, okay, if you're going to be that way about your diet, you're going to be that way about the playbook too, right? So, whether we put him in a coverage or a blitz pad or whatever it is, he's going to know that. Obviously, there's freshman bumps along the way. Hey, the game's moving fast, or you got emotion you didn't expect, or things like that. And it's my job to have him ready to go. But he has that seriousness. He has a real approach and a routine like that.
Not giving a big play. What have you seen being back under him that maybe has changed from the first time you were here at Ohio State or even
Yeah, I think one is understanding of who we're operating with. I think that obviously our time at Duke, our time at Oklahoma State, different types of players that you're operating with, right? So the Ohio State caliber, 2 years ago we gave up too many big plays. A big growth last year from the defense here was there weren't many big plays given up, but there's times that maybe you want to knock somebody back or be able to get a stop in a critical moment, So we've been, hard on ourselves from a self-scout standpoint, and Jim can adapt. That's what people don't talk probably enough about him. Is if you look at him over the years, he can adapt to his personnel. He can adapt to a conference, and he's his hardest critic. Right? So he's going to say, okay, hey, what went really well? Great, we acknowledge those things. Let's watch all the negative plays. This is the first thing we do. Right? Let's watch all the negative plays, right? And then we say, okay, where could we be better here, and come up with schematics that fit our personnel, but then also attack the teams that we're trying to attack.
people who know each other, long time ago, defensive mastermind. Now that you guys have position coach, I assume that frees him up to kind of just dig a little deeper and kind of find what has that been like to see him get back and kind of like
Jim's a great teacher first, so he is able to maybe take a step back and get into the schematics, but he's in every meeting. He runs every install. He's in position meetings all the time. You know what I mean? I think that's what he does great, is he has a feel for the players and knows. I mean, you can come with all this great scheme, but you can have so much scheme on the boards that what's really functioning, right? I mean, and that's not what he does. He's able to say, okay, hey, here's schematics, here's what fits our guys, and let's be able to teach it to those guys. And he does all the installs, right? So we obviously do positionally afterwards to really get to the ins and outs of each little specific thing. But he does a great job teaching the guys. But yeah, I think that he enjoys that role to be able to develop the entire plan and coach the coaches, us, to be able to present the best way.
We mentioned some of the preseason accolades that Caleb has gotten. Have you talked to him at all about those, or is that just something that he kind of knows comes with the expectations of being a great player?
Yeah, we don't talk at all about that. All I care about is today, when he showed up into the building, the work that he put in, the mentality, what it looked like out on the field, right? I mean, that's for everybody else to talk about, right? It's about the work that we put in, and at the end of the year, then we'll gather up whatever we have and go from there. So we don't talk about that. It's just focused on what we can control, and that's not one of the controllables that we have.
Matt Spring, David Austin got a lot of opportunities.
There you go.
Where is the development for him now that he had the extra reps that he got in the spring?
For sure.
We hear a lot about Malik and Jalen, but
yeah, no, I've been pleased with Jaden's development as well. He brings a physical presence. You guys have seen him. He's done a good job in the spring. I thought he took steps forward. I thought in summer and fall he's been able to take steps forward as well. You know what I mean? So, he's a guy that when we talk about the depth of the safety room, he's another critical guy to keep developing.
Keenan, last question.
Yeah, Keenan as well. Absolutely.
No one's talked about it since he got here.
For sure. No, he's done a good job. He's made some good plays. Yeah, no, he's a guy that busts his butt coming in and learning a new system. But he's I'm just meeting with him before, early before meetings today.
We don't even know if he has the voice. We haven't heard.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. He's a great young man, awesome family, serious about his work, came here with a mentality, and wanted to be a part of the best in the country. And that's what he came here to do. But no, he's done an awesome job. Yeah, so you've got a pool of guys that we're talking about growing that depth. All those guys are playing.
Thank you.